Tzaddikim and Tzaddikim from around the entire world. Today I have the privilege to be interviewing Mr. Baruch Englander. Baruch, how you doing?
I am great, Laili. How are you?
Amazing. Baruch Hashem. All right. Can you please share with us a little bit about yourself, your hobbies, what you enjoy doing, a little bit about your background? Let's hear.
Okay. Well, first of all, I have to talk about how I'm connected to you. I'm very lucky that I am cousins with your mom. So that's really an important part of my background. But I grew up in New York and went to different yeshivas my whole life, Halb and Hafter they're called, and then I went to Israel for a year. Went back to college, Yeshiva University. Went to Smicha, became a rabbi. And then I started my career in chinuch. I'm very lucky to be in Jewish education, and I was a high school educator for 6 years. I then moved to South Florida, Boca Raton, Florida, for 12 years, where I became a principal and head of school. And now I am actually back in the school that I went to as a child. And this school's called Halb, Hebrew Academy of Long Beach, in the 5 towns in New York. And I'm the head of school there. It's basically a nursery school through 8th grade, about 1,000 children. And so that's a little about me career-wise. And you said hobbies also. You want to know my hobbies?
Everything about you.
Oh, okay. Well, I love learning. I love learning Torah. I love reading books, like specifically books like that about like leadership and management. That's kind of like I guess it relates to my career, but it's also a hobby. And I actually love playing golf. So I'm working on that. I usually play during the summer. So that's like a hobby of mine.
Amazing. All right. Can you please describe to us what your job looks like? Because you're head of a school and you've gone to such an intense job. I messed up the questions, by the way. So can you describe to us with the whole picture, what it all looks like?
Okay, I'll try to do that. One I realized I should have said before, a very important part of my background is my wife Shira, my 4 children, range in age from 22 to 13. My youngest just had a bar mitzvah, so that's exciting. And so that's just, a little more about me. But so the school job, yeah, it's hard to really sometimes it's hard to describe. My own children sometimes say to me like, but what do you do all day? Do you just like answer emails? And I tell them, well, that's definitely a part of my day, but it's certainly much more than that. The day in, day out job is, usually a good part of my day is already planned before I start it. Meaning there are certain meetings that always take place, like, like the leadership team. We meet every Wednesday at a certain time, all the different principals, to plan the next week and talk about things that are coming up in school and help each other out with things that are going on. So a lot of things are like already planned. There's a lot of programs that are going on in the school, or I kind of block out times to go visit classrooms and see the instruction, like what's going on in classrooms, what are the teachers doing, what are the students doing, monitoring certain things like carpool and busing and lunch. So all that's kind of like the stuff that's expected, and I already often know what's part of my day. But there's another chunk of the day that's totally unexpected. Things happen in school that you can't predict. It might be an issue with 2 kids who, get into some fight, or a teacher really struggling with some issue, or a parent that really needs to talk to us about an emergency or something going on in their lives. So it's really all about kind of my job is really kind of to look at the whole system, because there's no way I can connect with obviously 1,000 children or 150 teachers. My job is to help create like a system where the good stuff happens. So you try to just make sure that everything that you do is for the sake of what's best for children. And that's like one of the classic lines that people talk about when it comes to great schools and great education. You always ask yourself, what do we need to do to make the greatest, Jewish educational experience for our children, where they feel warm and loved and embraced? And, our school is known to be a very warm school. It's strongly academic, but at the same time, it's also a place where we want, every kid to feel a connection to their Rebbe, to their Mora, and really to all their teachers. So some days are kind of more relaxed and drama free. But a lot of days, like yesterday, was just an intense day, and there was like a lot of drama and like dramatic things, and you have to, and they're not always easy to deal with, because usually you need to involve several people. So you'll have to, I have to bring in the middle school principal or the guidance counselor. So that's, I would say, quite common and becoming more common, because it seems that, life can be complicated sometimes, but we do our best to help kids and serve Hashem.
Wow. Did you always want to become the head of a school? Like, was that always on your mind? How did
No,
that happen?
no, great question. I wanted to be a doctor my whole life. Um, Always wanted to be a doctor, and I'm the same age as your uncle Yaakov. So we always, he probably knew that from my childhood. And only when I got very inspired when I went to Israel for the year. After actually, my whole all my Jewish roots, by the way, are all really connected to Chabad, because my mother, like your grandfather, didn't grow up in really a frum home. Judaism was very important, but then they got into Chabad shortly after, when they respectively got married, and my mom decided we got to go to yeshiva, we have to keep kosher, and all those things we did. But I wouldn't say I was passionate about my Yiddishkeit until I went to Israel for the year, which was after high school. It's very common, at least in the schools that I went to, almost every boy and girl goes to Israel for the year. And I got really excited about just learning Torah and Yiddishkeit, and it like kind of changed the direction of my life. And I ended up going back for a second year, and I still was actually planning to be a doctor at that point. But then when I went back to Yeshiva University, that's where I started getting involved in NCSY, like youth groups, but being like an advisor and getting involved a little bit in Kirov. And that kind of led to education. I was like, you know what, I really want to be a teacher of Torah. And that's when I continued my smicha to become a rabbi. And I also went to YU University has a program called Azrieli, which is to get a master's degree in Jewish education and administration. And even though I didn't have those degrees at the time, I already had started part-time teaching in the same high school actually that I went to as a kid. So I kind of became like a pretty young Rebbe there. Maybe I was like 22, 23 years old.
Wow.
And then that was only part-time. And then it became full-time. And then, I needed that as a job because I was married and had a kid at the time. And that's kind of where this started. And then I would say by my second or third year in Jewish education, I started realizing, you know what, I think I want to go into administration, because I used to think principals just like punish kids, and
Yeah.
I don't know I hope that's not your experience in school, but I never really understood what a principal does until I was working in a school. And then I realized how much they could like shape the culture and help the teachers and support what's going on. And that's something I'm very into. I love creating like a positive work environment, because I find that, people who are teachers, they're not making millions of dollars. They're doing it because they love it, because they want to change the future. And so it's so important to have a culture and environment where people are happy and they're positive and they feel their opinions matter, and they know they have support when they need it. And I realized that's the kind of thing I want to learn how to do. I thought I had like some natural abilities in it, but I knew I wanted to learn the skill. And that's what I spent, a bunch of years learning and honing. And then eventually, after like 6 years, I decided to take the plunge and become a principal. I didn't think we were going to move out of New York. And I like went to a headhunter who finds jobs in this area. And they were like, oh, we have this great job in Boca Raton, Florida. And I was like, Boca Raton, Florida, I'd never been there. I didn't know anything about it, but I went and visited and went for a Shabbos. And next thing we knew it, we picked up and moved. We had 2 little kids at the time, and it was kind of crazy, but, and then we ended up staying there for 12 years and we loved it.
Wow. What's something you really love about this job?
I love helping people through challenging situations that don't have easy solutions. Like I like to sit down with a person and like talk it out, and how best do we deal with this child, or how best do we deal with this difficult situation. So it's like, even though I don't necessarily have the answer to it, I find that when we, you bring a group of people around a topic and really working it through to some like kind of positive resolution, that's something that I really like, I enjoy, and it gives me a sense of fulfillment, sipok nefesh. Yeah, like a sense of like, this is good, this feels good. That I really enjoy. And I also enjoy helping, like the way I view my job. I think the role of a leader really in any company, whether it's a school or anything else, is to help the others around them to be better. And that's not something you could like make them do. You have to more create an environment where they on their own do it. So I take a lot of pride in trying to create an environment where people can grow and be the best versions of themselves.
Wow. What's something you don't like about this job?
It's a good question. I do like most parts about it. The parts I don't like relate to like budgeting, like the financial end of things. Schools really try hard to, we have to collect tuition, like any private school, but that's never enough money and you have to do fundraising. I don't mind that. I actually enjoy fundraising. But I don't like having to go, oh no, we only have this much money and I
Yeah.
really want to do more and there's only not enough. And how do we, and like also people always negotiating with me because they need to make more money, which I want to do. And like that kind of wears me down because I find I want to help them and it's like my job to determine their salaries. But like, it's hard because everyone really deserves to make more and you can't always make that happen. And that part I find hard and not so enjoyable.
Gotcha. All right. Is it hard to struggle with your family plus what you do?
Is it hard to what?
Struggle, juggle your family
Oh,
plus what you do.
yeah, it is actually because the nature of this kind of job, it's not like a 9 to 5 kind of job. You're always doing things outside of those hours and events and speeches and, nowadays, you get a million emails a day. So it is hard, but I do think it's very doable. I think a lot of people, including myself, we get like stuck into assuming, oh, I have to keep answering these emails and doing things. But I think if I was better about just, carving out time and putting away my phone and putting away my computer for certain hours, I think it would be better. But I do pride myself on trying hard to spend the quality family time that I so enjoy and cherish. But I'd be lying if I said it wasn't a challenge, and it isn't a juggle.
Right.
It is hard.
Wow, beautiful. Who's somebody you really, really admire?
There's a lot of people I really admire. The first one that comes to mind is my wife, actually, who does an incredible job, I find, of balancing the work. And so she's just one of those people who like does everything and no one even knows how she has time to do everything. I mean, she's getting ready for Shavuos and has a full-time job and is making meals and food for at least like 2 or 3 other people who like have stuff going on in their lives, and is, helps out with a camp in the summer. And there's just like so many things she does. And like, I'm really in admiration of like how she does so many things. I also really admire a well there's a person that I use as my own personal coach. For a lot of people in the head of school job that I have yeah, it's like a leadership coach, a person who helps them like deal with the challenges of school leadership. And I've been working with a person for about 12 years now. Her name,
Whoa.
her name is Jane Taubenfeld Cohen. I actually just got off the phone with her a little while ago because we have a phone call every 2 weeks. And she's another person I really admire. She's a person who's coaching about probably 25 heads of school.
Whoa.
She's retired from her head of school job, and I admire how much she helps every person in their own unique way, and like she really loves and cares about all those people. So like it's like she's doing so much for the entire Jewish world, and people don't even know it because
Right.
they have no idea that she's behind the scenes of so many um, people in this job. It's a person who you can kind of like share your most difficult things with, things that might be very private that you can't discuss with other people in your school because it's a very sensitive matter. Um, so I would say those are, I mean, there's many others, but those are 2 people who really come to mind that I admire.
Wow, beautiful. How do you deal with pressure and stressful situations?
So one is that to me is a lot of there's a few things. One, the first thing that comes to mind is just like faith in Hashem, meaning although it's not easy to say because we all go through hard times and it's not easy to say, oh, it's for the best, it's for the best, it's for the best. But the reality is when we can separate our emotions from our mind, we know that wait, things really are for the best. So you have to, just having a deep belief that Hashem runs the world and that what you're going through has some positive reason. That is very helpful. But also to maintain just in general a positive attitude. I really like I don't know how to say it in Yiddish. I know the Lubavitch Rebbe was famous for saying it in Yiddish, but think good and it will be good. There's some line that people say in Yiddish. I just don't know it. But that idea that if you really like think positively and have a belief, truly believe that this will come out somehow with a positive outcome, that helps a lot. And just putting on the smile, like kind of pushing through it and recognizing it's just part of the path. Like another line that I like from a different book, maybe a lot of people say it, but the idea that the journey is the destination. Meaning it's not about life getting to some. It's not about like, oh, we have to get to this, do this. No, like the point of life is to have ups and downs.
Right.
The point of like that's how Hashem created this existence for us. And I think all those attitudes combined help a person deal with pressure and struggles.
That's true. All right, 3 more questions. Are you ready?
I think so.
What is most best and crazy memory throughout this adventure?
Adventure like in work or in like life?
In everything.
Craziest memory?
And best. It got to be the best one.
And best. Whoa. That is a tough one. I'm not sure how to answer that one. One thing that I have like many memories of, but like not a ton. I really we've been blessed to go on like a nice amount of family vacations where it's a different place, nothing crazy places, but like whether we've been to Israel together as a family, and we've been to Florida a bunch of times, and we went to Puerto Rico and Arizona, and like I find that when we like kind of just do something special as a family, those have been like, and I look back at the pictures, but those are some of like the greatest memories, like things where I've kind of been like separated from like the work regular life everyday kind of like day in day out life, and to kind of just take a break and just enjoy, and that like vacations and Yom Tovim, those kind of times, just being together with family, those are like, I would say, some of my best memories. When I think of one, I know it's hard for me to kind of pin down just one.
Okay.
So I hope that's okay, even though I'm not giving you exact.
Good. You literally just said a memory. Going on vacation is a memory. What are your dreams of something that you really, really, really want to accomplish?
What I really want to accomplish?
Yes.
Also a really good question. I would love to help get my school and even other schools to a place where we do hopefully an even better job of inspiring our kids to love their Yiddishkeit at an even younger age. Meaning, I think they do in our school now, but like to kind of do that with their families, to kind of like even though like my job is to deal with a school and kids in a school, right? They're not their own little entity. You have to look at the whole family as a whole, right? Like the Bialo family, it's not just when they go to school or whatever. It's with their family, with everyone. And I would love to like create more partnerships between schools and parents where we're more on the same page, where we're really trying to help our kids. I mean, everyone wants to help our kids, but I think sometimes people just get so distracted in life and they're just not focused enough on doing whatever's best for their children and in a more like deliberate way. And so whether it's passion and excitement for Yiddishkeit or davening or more learning or a more exciting Shabbos table experience, or spending more time doing chesed and helping others, just to make that like more of a thing in families' lives. And I think you could do it through the school, like through the children themselves. So like I think we already do a good job in it, but not necessarily a great job. So I'd love to help, I know it's like kind of broad. I mentioned like many areas, but that's kind of what I really hope to like. If I could look back, I want to say I accomplished that one day, like not just that I was running a school, but that there are, kids who just feel more connected to Hashem, love their Yiddishkeit more, and the families are affected by it as a result. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay.
Beautiful. All right, one more question. Here's where the good stuff come in. Are you ready?
I hope so.
Okay. What is a life lesson that you can't teach us?
A life lesson. A life lesson that I feel like I continue to learn as the years go by, is that there really is no rule book when it comes to chinuch and just generally like educating children. Meaning that there's usually things that, you feel, oh, this is the best way, or that's the best way, or I need to treat my kid this way or treat my kid that way. In the end of the day, every single kid is different. Every single set of parents are different. And you kind of have to be comfortable to, trust the fact that you might have to go a different way, than, let's say, is considered the norm or the rules or what the community standard is, when you feel it's best for your child. I think a lot of parents, when they're younger, they're very worried about, oh, what are they gonna think, and what are they gonna think about our family, or what are they, people get very self-conscious, and they worry about how people judge them, which is normal. We all worry about that. We all get insecure about that. But in the end of the day, Hashem gave each soul to those parents.
Yes.
And that means that only those parents, only the Bialos can raise Laili to her potential, because otherwise your neshama would have gone to some other set of parents.
Right.
So the parents have a certain intuition and power to make the right call, and even if it seems like it's not the right thing, like, do what's best for your kid. And in the end of the day, and don't worry about what the rule book says. Like, of course, seek out advice and talk to rabbis or mechanchim or therapists or whatever's going on. But in the end of the day, like, trust that you really have the ability to do the right thing for your child. And if I think parents have more confidence in themselves with that, I think they'll have a much easier life when it comes to child rearing and raising a home founded on Torah, and where the children ultimately live that life long term on their own, even when they're outside the rules and confines of their parents' home.
Wow, beautiful. All right. Mr. Baruch Englander, thank you so much for joining the Spirit of Wonderful. And let me thank elevators India, Laili Bialo here. For more interviews and daily videos, please WhatsApp the number 541-604-8581. And don't forget to elevate the planet. To be added to the EGOT group chat, please contact the number 541-604-8581.